Luffy is one of the most beloved protagonists in anime. He's fearless, loyal, and seems to make allies wherever he goes. But what if I told you that his incredible leadership isn't just because of his charisma or luck, it's because of trauma? That's right! Luffy's power to lead people comes from the emotional scars he carries. And once you see the pattern, it becomes impossible to unsee. This isn't just a story about friendship, it's about healing, about finding meaning through connection, and about how one boy's pain transformed him into the leader of a future Pirate King's crew. Let's go all the way back to Luffy's childhood in Fuchsia Village. Even before he had his devil fruit, Luffy was constantly chasing after a dream that everyone around him laughed at. But that desire didn't come from joy, it came from pain. The first major trauma? Losing Sabo. Luffy had found a brother in him. They were supposed to be free together. But when Sabo's ship was blown up, Luffy collapsed into tears. He broke down in front of Ace. And instead of processing the grief, Luffy made a promise to never cry again and to get stronger. That's not resilience, that's trauma survival. He bottled up pain and replaced it with action. And that pattern continues again and again throughout the story. Now look at how Luffy connects with his crew. Zoro nearly killed protecting Luffy's dream. Nami saved from the grip of Arlong Park, where her own family had been murdered in front of her. Sanji rescued from starvation and abuse. Robin hunted by the world from the age of 8. These aren't just friends, they're people carrying deep, emotional wounds. And how does Luffy win their loyalty? Not with strategy, not with bribes, but by recognizing their pain and saying in his own way, I see you, you're not alone anymore. Like when he placed the straw hat on Nami's head, silently telling her, you can trust me. Or when he told Robin to live, for the first time in her life. He doesn't just save them, he validates them. But here's the darker side. Luffy is a phenomenal leader, yes, but he also avoids responsibility. He doesn't want to be a hero.
Hero? Yada! Nani? 俺たちは海賊だぞ! ヒーローは大好きだけど、なるのは嫌だ! お前、ヒーローってなんだか分かってんのか? でも、不安だろ? 海賊は肉で宴をやるけど、ヒーローは肉を人に分け与えるやつのことだ. 俺は肉を食いてえ!
He doesn't want to lead armies. Why? Because leading means making decisions, and decisions, like Ace's death, come with consequences. When Luffy lost Ace, he didn't just grieve. He collapsed. The invincible rubber boy was broken. And what did he say? I'm too weak. It wasn't just about strength, it was about failing to protect the one he loved most. So after Marineford, Luffy trains. Not just to get stronger, but to make sure he never feels that helpless again. But he still avoids being in charge. He lets his crew follow their own paths. He rarely gives orders unless it's life or death. Because deep down, he fears that leading people might get them killed. Here's something even deeper. Why is Luffy always laughing? Why is he always eating, always stretching, always grinning? Because joy is his coping mechanism. People with trauma often lean into extremes, overcompensating with humor, distraction, or bravado to cover the wounds underneath. And that's what Luffy does. His laughter isn't fake, but it's purposeful. He knows his crew needs hope. He knows that if he breaks, they might too. So he becomes the sun they can orbit around. It's not just leadership, it's sacrifice. And this pattern isn't unique to Luffy. Look at Naruto, the class clown who hides his loneliness. Look at Eren Yeager, whose trauma from losing his mother pushed him to extremes. Or even Tanjiro, the kindest leader you'll meet, but born from a family tragedy. Anime protagonists often become leaders not just because of their strength, but because they've suffered. They lead because they know what it means to be lost. So what does this mean for the end of One Piece? When Luffy becomes Pirate King, and he won't rule like Roger. He'll lead the world into a new era not with strength, but with freedom. Because unlike other kings, Luffy understands what it means to be powerless. He knows the world is broken. He's seen slavery, starvation, and war, and he has carried the weight of that pain through joy. And that's why he's the one who can unite people across oceans. His trauma didn't make him weak. It made him the one person who can break the chains. Luffy isn't just lucky. He's not just charismatic. He's a boy who's lost too much, but never gave up. Who felt the weight of the world and still chose to smile. And maybe that's the real power of One Piece. Not treasure, not power, but the strength to keep going. If you felt that, leave a like. And if you want to understand more about why anime protagonists are often built from pain, check out my next video right here.